They have been watching you longer than you realize, and now everything is about to change. You didn't just click on this video randomly. Something inside you paused. Something felt different, a quiet pull, a strange sense that this message was meant specifically for you, and I need you to understand this clearly. This is not a coincidence. Out of millions of videos, out of endless distractions, you landed here for a reason. God brought you here. There's a reason you've been feeling watched, not in fear, but in awareness. Like someone, somewhere, has been paying attention to your moves, your growth, your silence, your resilience. You may have brushed it off as imagination. You may have told yourself, it's nothing, but deep down you felt it. That subtle energy, that unexplainable, knowing that something bigger is unfolding behind the scenes. For a long time, you've been moving differently. You've been seeing things others don't, feeling things others ignore. You've noticed patterns, signs, shifts, moments that don't quite make sense to the logical mind, yet feel undeniable in your spirit. And while others may have doubted you, misunderstood you, or even tried to dim your light, you kept going because something inside you refused to quit. And now, that persistence, that quiet strength has caught attention, not just from people around you, but from those you haven't even met yet. People with influence, people with vision, people who recognize something rare when they see it. They've been observing you. Not your surface, but your essence. Your ability to endure. Your ability to rise, even when everything tried to break you. You thought your struggles went unnoticed. You thought your silent battles didn't matter. But they were watching. Every time you chose growth over comfort. Every time you stayed true when it would have been easier to fold. Every time you walked alone instead of following the crowd. They noticed, and now they want to meet you. Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't about luck. This isn't about chance encounters or random timing. This is alignment. This is preparation meeting opportunity. Because the truth is, you've been preparing for something you couldn't fully see yet. And the energy you've been building, the version of yourself you've been becoming, has reached a point where it can no longer stay hidden. But here's where it gets deeper. Not everyone gets watched like this. Not everyone reaches this level of attention. Because not everyone carries what you carry. There's something different about you. Something that can't be copied, can't be taught, can't be faked. And whether you've embraced it yet or not, that uniqueness has placed you on a path that was never meant to be ordinary. You felt out of place before, haven't you? Like you didn't quite belong in the spaces you were in. Like your mind worked differently. Like your vision was ahead of your current reality. That wasn't a flaw, that was a sign. A signal that you were never meant to stay where you started. And now, the shift is happening, the same way you felt guided. Here, you're about to be guided into something even bigger. Conversations you didn't expect, opportunities you didn't chase. Connections that feel strangely familiar, like they were always meant to happen. But understand this. When people start watching you, when attention begins to shift toward you, it's not just about what they see on the outside. It's about what they sense within you. Your energy speaks before you even say a word. Your presence carries something that can't be explained, only felt, and that's exactly what drew them in. You're stepping into a phase where things will start to feel different, faster, more intense, more aligned. You'll begin to notice doors opening where there were once walls. You'll feel a pull towards certain places, certain people, certain decisions that seem unfamiliar, but deeply right. Don't ignore it, because the moment you're in right now, this exact moment, is a turning point. You can either brush it off, call it coincidence, and move on, or you can lean in, trust what you feel, and step into what's been waiting for you all along, because they didn't just randomly decide to watch you, and they're not randomly deciding to meet you now. Everything has been leading to this, but the real reason they want to meet you is far deeper than you think. They didn't start watching you for no reason. There was something different about you from the beginning. Before you even realized who you were becoming, something about you was already setting you apart. It wasn't loud. It wasn't something you could easily explain. But it was there, in the way you thought, in the way you felt, in the way you moved through the world. While others followed patterns, you questioned them. While others chased approval, you searched for meaning. That difference didn't go unnoticed. From the beginning, your energy carried a certain frequency. People felt it, even if they couldn't describe it. Some were drawn to you without knowing why. Others felt uncomfortable around you for no clear reason. That's because your presence has always revealed things. Truths people try to hide. Realities they avoid facing. You weren't just existing, you were reflecting. And that reflection made you stand out. You've probably experienced moments where people underestimated you. They looked at your current situation and assumed that's all you were. But what they couldn't see was what was developing beneath the surface. Your mindset was evolving in ways that didn't match your environment. While everything around you tried to keep you small, your thinking kept expanding. You were never meant to stay in one place, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, even in your lowest moments. When you felt lost or uncertain, there was still a part of you that refused to settle. A quiet voice that kept pushing you forward, even when you didn't fully understand why. That voice, that inner knowing, is one of the main reasons you were being observed, because not everyone listens to it. Not everyone has it as strongly as you do. And they noticed that. They noticed how you handled pressure, how you carried yourself through situations that would have broken someone else. You didn't always do it perfectly, but you kept moving, you kept learning, you kept growing. That kind of resilience isn't common. It can't be taught overnight. It comes from something deeper, something intentional. There's a spiritual layer to all of this that most people never tap into. But you felt it, even if you didn't have the words for it. The synchronicities, the moments that felt guided, the times when things fell apart just to redirect you somewhere better. That wasn't random, that was alignment, that was preparation, and preparation always gets noticed by those who understand its value. You weren't just reacting to life, you were being shaped by it. While others resisted change, you slowly began to adapt. While others avoided growth because it felt uncomfortable, You leaned into it, even when it hurt. That willingness to evolve is rare. It's one of the clearest signs of someone who is meant for more, and that more is exactly what drew their attention. They've been observing how you think, the way you process things differently. You don't just accept what's in front of you. You analyze it, feel it, question it. Your awareness goes deeper than the surface. That depth is powerful, and it's not something that can be easily replicated. It's something you were born with, and something you've been strengthening over time. They also noticed your behavior when no one else was watching, the choices you made in private, the discipline you showed when there was no reward, the way you stayed true to yourself, even when it cost you relationships, comfort, or opportunities. That told them everything they needed to know, because true character isn't built in the spotlight, it's revealed in the shadows. And you've been proving who you are long before anyone acknowledged it. There's also something about your energy that doesn't seek validation in the same way others do. You've started to detach from the need for constant approval. You've become more focused, more intentional. You're not easily distracted anymore. You're not easily influenced. That kind of independence stands out in a world full of noise, and it's exactly why they kept watching, not to judge you, not to doubt you, but to understand you, to see if what they sensed in you was real. And over time, you gave them their answer. Every challenge you overcame, every moment you chose growth over comfort. Every time you stayed aligned with something bigger than your current reality, you confirmed it. You are different, not in a way that separates you from others out of ego, but in a way that aligns you with a path that requires more awareness, more strength, more purpose. And now, everything is beginning to make sense, because they weren't just watching your actions, they were studying your potential. And what they discovered about you is what made everything shift. Everything you went through was never random. I know there were moments when it felt meaningless, nights where you questioned everything, times when you wondered why things kept falling apart just when you were starting to rebuild. You tried to make sense of it, tried to find logic in the chaos, but nothing seemed to add up. It felt unfair, it felt heavy, and at times it felt like you were carrying more than you were supposed to. But what if none of it was wasted? What if every setback, every delay, every disappointment was part of something far more intentional than you realized? Because while you were living through those moments, you were also being seen. Not in a way meant to punish you, but in a way meant to understand you. Your struggles weren't just obstacles, they were tests. Not the kind you study for, but the kind that reveal who you are when there's no script to follow. When everything is uncertain, when nothing feels guaranteed, that's where your real self shows up. And that's exactly what they were watching. They saw how you reacted when things didn't go your way, when people you trusted let you down, when doors closed without explanation, when you had to start over again and again with no clear path ahead. Those weren't random hardships. They were moments designed to stretch you, to push you beyond what felt comfortable, to force you into growth. And you didn't even realize it at the time. You thought you were just surviving. but you were evolving. Every time you faced rejection, you learned detachment. Every time you experienced loss, you gained clarity. Every time you felt alone, you discovered strength you didn't know you had. It didn't feel like progress, but it was shaping you in ways nothing else could. Because growth like that can't be taught through easy moments. It has to be earned through experience, and you've been earning it. There were times when you felt like giving up, times when continuing forward didn't make sense anymore. But something inside you refused to let you stop. Even when you were tired, even when you felt broken, even when no one else understood what you were going through, that persistence, that quiet refusal to quit, is one of the biggest reasons you are being observed. Because not everyone keeps going when it gets that hard. Most people fold under pressure. Most people choose comfort over growth. But you didn't. Even when you stumbled, you kept moving. Even when you doubted yourself, you didn't completely walk away from your path. And that told them everything. It showed them that you weren't just capable. You were ready to become something more. Your pain wasn't there to stop you. It was there to prepare you, to build emotional depth, to strengthen your mindset, to sharpen your awareness, to strip away anything that wasn't aligned with who you were meant to be. And while it may have felt like things were being taken from you, in reality, you were being refined, piece by piece, outer by layer. You were being turned into someone who could handle more, see more, understand more. And that process is never easy. There were moments when you felt misunderstood, like no one could truly see what you were going through. But that isolation had a purpose too. It forced you to rely on yourself, to trust your own instincts, to build a connection with something deeper than external validation. That kind of inner alignment is rare, and it's powerful. Because once you develop that, you stop being easily shaken by circumstances. You start seeing challenges differently. Not as punishments, but as opportunities to grow into a stronger version of yourself. And that shift is everything. It's what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. You've been rising, even when it didn't look like it, even when it didn't feel like it. Every test you faced was unlocking something within you. Strength, awareness, patience, resilience, qualities that can't be faked and can't be rushed. They have to be built over time, through real experiences, through real struggles, and you've lived through them. That's why your journey looks different. That's why your path hasn't been easy, because what you're being prepared for requires a version of you that can handle pressure, uncertainty, and responsibility at a higher level. You weren't being held back. You were being built up. And now, all of it, the pain, the confusion, the delays, it's starting to connect in ways you couldn't see before. Because those tests weren't just about getting through hard moments. They were about unlocking who you truly are. And once you understand what those tests unlocked, you'll see why they can't ignore you anymore. The timing of this meeting is not random. It might feel sudden. It might feel unexpected. Like everything is starting to move, all at once without warning. But this moment has been building for longer than you think. Every step you took, every delay you questioned, every detour that didn't make sense. At the time, it all led here, because timing like this doesn't just happen, it aligns. There were moments in your past where you thought you were ready. Moments where you wished things would finally shift, where you wanted the breakthrough to come faster. But if it had happened back then, you wouldn't have been the version of yourself that you are now. You wouldn't have had the awareness, the strength, the clarity you've developed through everything you've experienced. And that matters more than you realize. Because this meeting, this moment, isn't just about opportunity. It's about alignment between who you are and what you're stepping into. And that kind of alignment only happens when you're truly ready. Not when you think you are, but when you've been shaped enough to handle what's coming next. You've changed. Even if you don't fully see it yet, you're not the same person you were months ago, years ago, even weeks ago. The way you think has shifted. The way you respond to challenges has evolved. The things that used to trigger you don't hold the same power anymore. You've grown into someone who can carry more. And that's exactly why this is happening now. Because readiness isn't about perfection. It's about transformation. It's about becoming someone who can stand in a moment like this, without shrinking, without doubting, without running away from what's being offered. And you've reached that point. The timing isn't just about external circumstances. It's about internal alignment. Your energy, your mindset, your perspective, they've all been adjusting, refining, preparing you for this exact phase. You may not have realized it consciously, but everything within you has been shifting toward this moment. That's why things have started to feel different lately. There's a sense of movement, a quiet urgency, a feeling that something is about to happen, even if you can't fully explain it. That feeling isn't random, it's recognition. Your mind and spirit are beginning to catch up to what's already been set in motion. And once that alignment locks in, things start to accelerate. This is where many people hesitate. When everything begins to change, when opportunities start appearing, when doors open that once felt impossible, it can feel overwhelming. It can make you question if you're truly ready, if you're capable, if you deserve it. But those doubts, they're echoes of your past self, not your present reality. Because the version of you that went through those struggles, those tests, those moments of uncertainty, that version has already proven what it needed to prove. You've already shown resilience. You've already demonstrated growth. You've already stepped into a level of awareness that most people never reach. That's why this moment isn't something to fear. It's something to step into. Because the people who have been watching you, they're not just looking at who you used to be. They're seeing who you've become. They're recognizing the shift in you, the maturity, the depth, the control, the vision. And now they know. They know you're ready to be seen in a different light. This meeting isn't just about them approaching you. It's about you stepping into a new version of yourself. A version that no longer questions its place. A version that understands its value without needing constant validation. A version that can walk into a room and carry presence without saying a word. That's who you're becoming, and that's why the timing had to be exact. If it happened too early, You might have doubted it. You might have sabotaged it without realizing. You might have walked away from something meant for you because you didn't yet trust yourself enough to receive it. But now, that's changed. Now, you can see things more clearly. You can feel what's right and what's not. You can sense alignment in a way that goes beyond logic, and that awareness is what allows you to move forward without hesitation. This is the moment where everything begins to connect, where your past starts making sense, where your growth starts showing results, where your present starts attracting what was always meant to find you. And as everything aligns, as the distance between you and this meeting disappears, you're going to realize something powerful. You were never chasing this moment. It was always moving toward you. But what happens when you finally meet them will change everything. This is the moment everything you've been through starts to make sense. All the confusion, all the waiting, all the moments where you questioned why your path felt so different from everyone else's. It wasn't there to break you, it was there to reveal you. You were never lost, you were being led. Every hardship you faced carried a hidden purpose. Every delay protected you from something you couldn't yet see. Every closed door redirected you towards something greater. And now, standing at this point in your life, you're beginning to realize that nothing you went through was wasted. It was all preparation. You weren't just going through life. You were being shaped by it, molded into someone who could handle more, see more, understand more, someone who could carry purpose without being overwhelmed by it. Because what's meant for you requires a version of you that's been tested, refined, and strengthened. And that's exactly who you've become. This is why you felt different. This is why you couldn't fully connect with certain people, certain environments, certain mindsets, because your path was never meant to blend in. You were never meant to follow what everyone else was doing. You were being guided towards something unique, something that required you to stand apart, even when it felt uncomfortable. You were chosen for that, not by accident, not by chance, but by design, and deep down, you've always felt it. That quiet, knowing that your life had a deeper meaning, that there was something more waiting for you, even when you couldn't see it clearly. That feeling wasn't your imagination. It was truth. It was your spirit recognizing what your mind hadn't fully caught up to yet. And now, everything is aligning. You're starting to see your past differently. The pain doesn't feel as heavy, because you understand what it gave you. The struggles don't feel as confusing, because you can see how they shaped you. Even the moments that once felt like failures are revealing themselves as necessary steps toward who you are now. Nothing was random, nothing was pointless. Everything had meaning. And the fact that you're here right now, listening to this, feeling this, understanding this on a deeper level, that's confirmation. This is not a coincidence. God brought you here, not just to hear these words, but to awaken something within you, to remind you of who you are and what you're stepping into, because you're not the same person anymore. You've outgrown the doubts that once held you back. You've moved beyond the mindset that once limited you. You've stepped into a level of awareness that changes how you see everything, yourself, your journey, your future. And with that awareness comes responsibility. To trust what you feel, to follow what's being revealed to you, to stop doubting your path and start walking in it with confidence, because now you know you are never behind, never forgotten, never overlooked. You are being prepared. And the moment you're stepping into now, it's not just another phase of your life. It's a turning point, a moment where everything begins to shift, not just around you, but within you. A moment where you stop questioning your worth and start embodying it. Where you stop waiting for permission and start owning your purpose. This is where things change. This is where you change. And as you move forward, remember this feeling, this clarity, this realization that everything you went through was leading you somewhere meaningful. Let it guide you. Let it ground you. Let it remind you that you are exactly where you need to be. If this message spoke to you, don't ignore that feeling. Take a moment right now and comment Amen to affirm that you're ready for what's coming. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next in your journey. Like and share this with someone who needs to hear this, because you're not the only one being called to something greater. And never forget, you weren't just chosen to witness this moment. You were chosen to become it.